All right, let's get it. Contrary to popular belief, cancel culture isn't a thing. So today I want to discuss quote unquote cancel culture and how it's becoming out of control, at least according to some, right? So Jon Gruden and all of the fallout or fiasco that's been talked about this week in regards to his emails and everything is what prompted me to make this video. And I guess it gave me the nudge to make this video, I should say, because I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but I didn't quite know how to address it, how to get my thoughts across clearly. But Mr. Gruden and this fiasco sort of gave me the clarity that I need in order to get my point across, or at least try to get my point across. So, for those who are not aware, Mr. Gruden recently resigned from his position as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders because it was found that he had some disparaging comments in his emails to a Washington football team executive. Now, let me state for the record that Jon Gruden himself wasn't the target of the so called investigation. The investigation was into the Washington football team executives and their mistreatment of their female staff. As they were conducting their investigation, they came across these emails from Jon Gruden to said Washington football team executive, um, making some disparaging remarks about DeMaurice Smith, about Roger Goodell, about Eric Reed, and there were some other things in there. So I've been, I mean, and I know what they say. I'm just not going to repeat them. But I've been hearing a lot of people try and defend Jon Gruden, and saying that, oh, this was something that he said 10 years ago. Why is this still relevant, etc., etc. Well, 10 years ago was 2011, not 1950. So if you have racist views in 2011, you have misogynistic views in 2011, yeah, you're kind of the bad guy here, that is just a weak excuse to say, oh, this happened 10 years ago. No, it's still relevant. Sorry, he should have known better 10 years ago, just like he should have known better yesterday, right? I mean, it's totally irrelevant that these things were said 10 years ago. And it just, it just goes to show that Kaepernick was right. And he also spoke against players kneeling in protest during the national anthem and said that they should be fired. And it all just shows that Kaepernick was right. Kaepernick was blackballed from the NFL. They did conspire to keep him off a team, and they're still conspiring to keep him off of a team because he still doesn't have a job to this day. So no, Jon Gruden is not being canceled. Jon Gruden is being held accountable. And that's what everyone seems to miss in all of this back and forth, right? It's not cancel culture, it's called accountability. You just can't go spewing or spouting off crazy racist things and think that it's not going to come back to haunt you. And before you try and make this like some racial issue, sorry, as some always do, why don't you ask Kevin Hart? Ask Kevin Hart if it's racial. Kevin Hart lost his job hosting the Oscars, his dream job, because of things that he said 10 years ago. No one was outraged about that though. That story went by and most people probably didn't even realize that it happened, right? Let's ask Dave Chappelle what he thinks about cancel culture. You know, his recent special on Netflix, The Closer, which I've watched and I did find it funny. But you know, the LGBTQ community has been trying to, for lack of a better word, cancel Dave Chappelle for years. And he has some very interesting takes on this whole movement of cancelization. And I think, you know, I think his special is worth the watch. Said I don't want to ruin it for anyone. I don't want to give any spoilers, but yeah, I think it's worth the watch, and people should actually listen to what Dave has to say. So I don't know. Some of you may not be old enough, but Eddie Murphy did two comedy specials back in the 80s, Delirious and Raw, and both are classics. I mean, both are laugh out loud funny. Most of the things that Eddie talks about in those comedy specials would be deemed as inappropriate in today's society by some, not by all. And I guess I have to say this: Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, they're all comedians. They tell jokes. Jokes are supposed to be shocking and outrageous and partially true. I mean, that's kind of what makes them funny. And I've seen many comedians, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, all use racial stereotypes in their material. So it's really not a big deal for a comedian to say something that's outlandish to get a reaction from the crowd. The difference between these guys and Jon Gruden is he's not a comedian. He has black employees. He has black players. I think he even has a gay player on his squad. How do you think they feel knowing that this is what he really thinks about them? How can they trust him? How can they play for this man after he says those things? And that's the difference, right? If you're in management, if you're some type of executive, you have to earn your employees' trust. You have to earn your subordinates' trust. And you don't earn their trust by saying racially insensitive things, or questioning someone's sexual orientation. That's the difference between the real world and the comedic world, right? You know, Gina Carino didn't get canceled because she's a comedian. She's not a comedian. She's an actress. And when she said those things, she got fired because they were insensitive. It's called being held accountable. It's not canceled. She did it to herself. Jon Gruden did it to himself. Now, is he a scapegoat? Perhaps. Maybe he's just the first domino to fall. Maybe there's going to be huge turnout behind this. Maybe there's going to be a lot more execs, coaches, etc. that's going to be in hot water. Because I guarantee that he's not the only one who feels that way, and he's not the only one whose emails were examined. So, like I said, cancel culture isn't a thing. It's called accountability. And we should all be held accountable for the things we say and the things that we do. You never know who's watching, and you never know who's listening. So, I'll leave it there for now. If you like the way I think, hop over to Patreon, check out some of my original short stories. It's only $1.50 per download. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss out on our future videos. Like always, I thank you for your time. Peace.